women eggs finish, and some very early in life. A woman is born with a fixed number of eggs. The day she was born, the eggs are fixed in number inside of her.
Wow.
So their body don't produce new eggs. So if a woman is 40 years, for instance, her eggs are 40 years old. And the younger the eggs, the better they are, the more they are in number, and the higher they are in quality. And these are the things that determine the ease of getting pregnant, all things being equal, and the health of the baby. When a woman is 37 years, for instance, 70% of the eggs she has left are poor. If I blindfold you, for instance, and put 10 eggs of a 37-year-old woman in a space, mix them together, and ask you, go pick up an egg, which kind of egg are you likely going to pick? You see, somebody is short, and you say God made him short. No, God doesn't make anybody short. And I say God doesn't make anybody ugly. You can imagine I was given the gene for intelligence. And that can be done until a child is 13. So that's where we're going. Because everything about us is represented in our gene. And you can change it. You can edit it and become super.
Thank you for watching The Yellow Mic. My name is Kongs Shamaki. I'd like to invite you to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. We are striving to make this worth your time. Also, like this video and share to your friends, and let me know what you think in the comment section. Dr. Ken Egwuda, you're welcome to Yellow.
Thank you.
I have always wanted to have a conversation with you, and I must say you are one of the most fascinating doctors I've ever met. I'm excited about our conversation today.
Okay.
Yes, but before we go in depth, I'd like to know, at what point did you decide to be a doctor and a gynecologist at that?
The professions that were in vogue when we were in secondary school were pharmacy, engineering, and the medicine. For those of us who were in the sciences, you know. Yeah, and doctor seems to be the one that was a little bit prestigious with what we knew, because I didn't know much about that profession, but I just love something that is just a bit decent.
Okay.
So with my childhood mindset,
okay,
you know, but then being a gynecologist was when I started having the real impact of the people working in my immediate environment. I had worked in a facility in Nigeria, in Nisa Premier Hospital specifically. Then I worked as a general practitioner, as a medical officer, you know. And then I was kind of loved by my boss, who was a specialist in assisted reproduction technology.
Wow.
He was the pioneer in Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
He just returned from London. And then working with him, you know, he got some recommendation from people that worked in the hospital that this guy in the general practice unit may be a good addition to your department of assisted reproduction technology. So I was invited because I came along, you know, and then started working. I started seeing medicine in a very deep and fulfilling perspective.
Wow.
You know, having to deal with primitive human cells, you know, see the sperms, see the eggs. These are items, or rather, these are cells you don't see with your regular eyes. You have to see with aided microscopes, you know. And then imagine that the eggs and the sperm eventually turned out to be a big boy like me. I was like, this is actually fascinating. Then you see people that have been written off, like they cannot actually achieve conception, you know, and you make babies in the laboratory and you put the babies back in the uterine cavity. I was like, this looks like what I'd like to spend my life doing.
Wow. So
that was where I got the spark from. I see people literally having fulfillment. I've seen couples knelt down at a very young age, knelt down praising God for seemingly impossible things happening because of the aid of reproductive medical sciences,
Yeah.
Well, and so right there and then I decided that I want to be a gynecologist.
Wow.
And so then at a very young age, I was so young that it wasn't decent to allow me to see couples, if you understand.
Okay.
I was so young that it wasn't very decent for them to allow me to see couples. So
How old were you?
yeah, I think I should be around 2021.
Okay.
Then
Wow.
yes, and then you see people coming.
When you became a doctor?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So people coming were old people. I mean, advanced age people, and you needed somebody with experience in life at least
Yes.
to identify with them. So I was kept at the backside.
Wow.
So, but then I was doing procedures. And then people were under anesthesia. They don't see you, so you operate them and all of that. And so that was how it started for me, Within a short time, I became so good with the procedures, and I was working all by myself with little or no supervision. And I told myself, this is where the dream seems to be for me,
Wow.
And I saw that the field has no limit. Then I got into gynecology proper.
Wow.
Then and where we are today.
So you seem very happy and fulfilled with what you're doing. What is assisted reproductive technology? How would you put it if you to define it?
Okay, yeah, it is a modality of reproduction in humans. Let me use the word humans, for instance, where the sperms and the eggs of a female are manipulated, or rather where the sperms and or the eggs of a female are manipulated outside the human body, and then transferred into the human body, for purposes of conception.
Yeah.
So that is what assisted reproduction technology is. One of the gametes, it's being manipulated, either the egg or the sperm or both.
Okay.
And in this case, IVF, for instance, both were manipulated, to just achieve fertilization. That's what assisted reproduction technology is.
So if there's anything I understand is that there's more than one way of doing this.
Exactly.
So what are the several ways, the different ways of doing assisted reproductive technology? Can I call it ART or ART?
Yeah, ART.
Okay.
ART.
Okay.
It's the acceptable way of calling
Okay.
it assisted reproduction technology.
Okay.
Yeah, the several ways. One is to let me say there are two broadly classified in two ways.
Okay.
There is one that only the sperms is manipulated. You get the sperm, prepare the sperm, and put the sperm in the uterus of the woman.
Okay.
So the eggs are not manipulated in this case.
Oh, okay.
So that's when you're doing things like intrauterine insemination, what the regular people call artificial insemination.
Okay. Okay.
So you prepare the sperm. The man gives you the sperm. You prepare the sperm and put it in his woman or in his partner. The eggs are there on their own. They get to the fallopian tubes where they meet with the sperms and fertilization happen. That is one type of assisted reproduction technology where only the sperms are manipulated. Then you have the regular one, which is the IVF, where the sperms and the eggs are produced from off the body, manipulated outside in the laboratory environment, and then they're fertilized. Then you may decide to do gene analysis, what we call pre-implantation genetic diagnosis for a lot of other reasons. Or you could just decide to put the product of that fertilization back into the woman's womb. In this case, the eggs are manipulated. The word manipulated doesn't mean you change them. No, you get the eggs from the human body, you clean them up and prepare them for fertilization. That's just literally what the manipulation means.
What do you mean clean them up?
When they come with all kind of additives.
Okay.
They have the fluids, then they have a lot of cells around them.
Yeah.
So you may need to clean them off those debris, because they are not needed.
Okay.
So that's the meaning of cleaning them up. The same way you clean the sperms up. The sperms have a lot of debts with them. All the fluid is still in the sperms, for instance. They are fluid that help the sperms to be healthy, but there are a lot of deaths alongside.
Wow.
So we clean them up so that the cells you get are just crystal clear in very healthy laboratory media. So you don't see all the things that literally come out when a man ejaculates.
Oh.
So you get them in their cleanest form, then fertilize them. That's the manipulation we talked about. Then you watch the product of fertilization develop, and then you grow it for a while, 3 to 5 days, and then you get it back and deposit into the uterus of a woman. So pregnancy can occur. So these are broadly two types of assisted, two kinds of assisted reproduction technology. Yeah, when only one gamete is modified, manipulated, and the two different gametes are manipulated. In this one, where you have the two different gametes manipulated, you could go ahead to do all kinds of things with them. You can freeze them. You can take part of it to analyze for abnormalities, for disease, for inheritable diseases or transmissible diseases, and all of that. Yes. So this is for the regular gynecologist. We will go to the advanced one, for instance, where even 3 people are involved.
Wow.
Where 2 different eggs
are
manipulated. When I say 2 different eggs from 2 different women.
To make one baby?
To make one baby.
Okay.
The world hasn't actually seen a lot yet. So you can imagine the regular things we know about babies is that babies are formed by 2 people. A man and his partner, a woman and her partner. But we have other kind of babies that could be formed from 3 people. 2 women and 1 man.
So who takes the baby in this case? How do you go about it? The modalities of arranging whose baby does it belong to? Does it have to do with some donor situation? Or?
Yes. So this is what happens usually. Women have some situations with some kind of transmissible genetic condition that is located in the mitochondrion of the eggs. The mitochondrion is a very small part of the eggs, like the powerhouse of the eggs, and that is what one structure that determines how healthy the egg of a woman is. And now this disease condition is located in that part of that egg. And if a woman gets pregnant just with her partner having that condition, she could transfer that condition to her offspring.
Wow.
The regular thing to do is to ask her not to get pregnant with those eggs. But now it's another world of its own. A woman will feel cheated, or she feels deprived, or she feels she has no genetic connection occasionally when she uses donated eggs. So now, but other part of the eggs are fine. So in this case now, you could get a third party into this who would donate her own eggs to this woman. Now, not all part of her eggs are going to be used. Just in that mitochondrion, that part of her own mitochondrion that is abnormal would be taken out. And a normal part from this other donor mitochondrion would be taken out and transplanted into this woman with the abnormality. So you just remove the abnormality and replace with a healthy part of the mitochondrion. And good enough, there is no significant gene transfer when this kind of mitochondrial transplant is done. So that way, she's able to get pregnant with her egg, with a little addition from someone's egg, without changing the genetic constituent of her own eggs. And so she has a baby that she has a good genetic connections with, carries her gene and her partner's gene, forming a whole baby without any significant interference from the third party. And now this kind of conception is done not just for the fun of it, but with the intention of preventing a deadly genetic disease. So as I speak to you right now, it is constitutional in the United Kingdom, which is my region of socialization in the world, actually.
Wow.
So it's done and it's legal.
It's not in Nigeria, is it?
No, it's not in Nigeria at the moment.
Oh, okay.
It's
So you
not
don't
in
practice this in Nigeria?
We don't practice it
Okay,
in
so but you
Nigeria.
can do the one with just two partners.
Yeah, with two partners.
Okay.
Yes.
So the question I have for that is, when you borrow some genes, or can I use the word genes?
No, yeah, genes.
Okay.
All right. I understand what you mean.
Yeah, when you
Anyway.
borrow something from another woman to add to another woman's egg, to add to a man's sperm, to deliver a baby, does that baby come with some form of mixed traits?
With what I had described, there is no mixture of traits in this, because that part of the mitochondria usually carries no significant genetic contribution to the baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that is why it's a little more comfortable doing that.
So it's more like a kidney transplant, something like that. If I needed a kidney and somebody gave me a kidney.
Maybe for the sake of a layman,
Yeah.
we could say yes.
Okay.
But if the scientific community analyzed it, they won't equate it to kidney transplant. But for the sake of a layman, maybe yes.
Okay. Yeah, because coming down to the moral quandary of what you just described, I know a lot of people will find it unsettling to even think of assisted reproductive technology in the first place, then not to talk of, mixing things up. Have you ever been challenged or thought about the moral thin line in this situation?
Yes. In a lot of societies where I've socialized before, maybe have some professional dialogue, work, practice, or training, we always deal with such. Okay. And these moral thoughts or moral perspective is unique or peculiar with different societies.
Okay.
But then, if you understand the human nature, for instance, understand the human body, then of course you understand in details how important or how unimportant the morality is, because the morality is based on sentiment of people, which could be cultural sentiment, religious sentiment, or even political sentiment. And a good number of times the morality is based on religious sentiment.
Okay.
In Nigeria, for instance, women find it a little difficult to just accept donated eggs. Because what they don't understand is that women don't have eggs all their lives.
Wow.
Yes. Women eggs finish, and some very early in life.
Early, like how old?
Okay, let's say a normal woman, for instance, when she's getting to like 40, 42, the eggs are already whining out.
Wow.
Exactly. Some women eggs finish when they are even early 30s, a situation we call premature ovarian insufficiency.
Wow.
Okay. Now, a woman is born with a fixed number of eggs.
A fixed number of eggs. So it's not like
the day she was born,
okay,
the eggs are fixed in number inside of her.
Like an average of how many? Do you have an idea?
Between 400 to 700,000.
Wow.
Yes, that's how women are born. So their body don't produce new eggs. Unlike the body of a man that produces sperms all the time. I guess we'll talk about the sperm in a little while. But a woman's body doesn't produce new eggs. So if a woman is 40 years, for instance, her eggs are 40 years old.
Wow.
A woman who is 20 years old have eggs that are 20 years old. And the younger the eggs, the better they are, the more they are in number, and the higher they are in quality. And these are the things that determine the ease of getting pregnant, all things being equal, and the health of a baby when you get pregnant. So this is to say, the older a woman is, the lesser the number of eggs she has, the lesser the quality of the eggs.
And the chances of getting pregnant.
Exactly. And the higher the chances of having miscarriages, because most of the eggs she has at that time are poor.
Oh, wow. So, wait. So,
if she still have them anyway.
Miscarriages can be tied to age as well.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yes, there are a lot of reasons why women have miscarriage, but one common reason is age. One common reason, because the eggs are poor, and if the eggs are poor, chances of sustaining pregnancy with them is also very poor.
Wow.
And that is why, for instance, if you have a friend or an individual in the United Kingdom or United States who gets pregnant above 35, the system watches her like a hawk. The level of examinations, investigations, interventions that she will go through when pregnant is like you're dealing with a criminal, in quote. That's because they're worried that she is likely going to have an abnormal baby. So they do all kinds of gene testings.
Okay.
So women eggs finish as they're advancing in age. When a woman is 37 years, for instance, 70% of the eggs she has left are poor, are bad. Only 30% are in good condition. So you can imagine if I blindfold you, for instance, and put 10 eggs of a 37-year-old woman in a space, mix them together, and ask you, go pick up an egg. Which kind of egg are you likely going to pick? A good or the bad one?
I'm likely to pick a bad one.
Because 70% of the eggs are going to be bad.
Yeah.
And for us in assisted reproduction technology, we have the privilege of seeing these eggs the way they are. We know the colors of the eggs.
Wow.
We know how good the eggs looks. Yes, I mean, by the way they look, then looking at them genetically is a different thing altogether. So women eggs quality reduces as they are increasing in age. And then for some, it finishes early, depending on the challenges they've had in life or the kind of genes that they inherited from their parents. Okay? So as they're aging, the egg quality reduces, eggs finishes, and all of that. And then they come to meet you in the consulting room, for instance, and you say, hey, you need egg donation. They're like, wow, why do I need egg donation? I'm still menstruating, no, madam. Menstruation doesn't equate to ovulation of good eggs. They say, what am I still seeing? I thought I'm still ovulating when I menstruate. I say, yeah, you may be, but the quality may not be good enough to bring about pregnancy. So it's difficult for the African woman to understand that she has no eggs. So she resists it. And the morality here is that because once she's not aware, she doesn't know the capacity of her body.
Yeah.
And then when you say you want to use a donor egg, for instance, they start wondering, what did the religion say about donor egg? Or what does the culture say about donor egg? And what does the social circumstances means me using donor egg? Am I not a woman? So, but the reality is that a lot of women at that age get pregnant by using of donor eggs.
Some things are becoming clear to me in terms of beliefs.
Yeah.
It may sound dumb, but I remember my dad used to teach African traditional religion in a college. Not that he believed in it, but he taught it as a precursor to some of the beliefs we have that has interwoven with Islam, Christianity, and stuff. Yeah, so it's very interesting perspectives it brings. And one of those perspectives is in the African traditional religion or belief, it is believed that if a woman is unable to give birth to a child, it means she has eaten all her children. So the psychology in the ATR is that a woman has all her babies in her womb, so she picks them one by one and eats them. Right, in some form of witchcraft or something. Yeah, so now that you're talking about a limited number of eggs.
Yes, so now we'll describe nature as a witchcraft here.
Okay.
Because it's natural for a woman. For instance, women battle with this all the time, This is the world I live in, and I know the battle that goes in. Some will take the egg donation without wanting their partners to know.
Oh, yes.
Because when he knows he may take it out on them,
Mm-hmm.
less of a woman, or the society doesn't like it and all of that. So it's always a battle. Some cry before accepting it. Some would accept it with a lot of reservation,
Yeah.
you know. But then that's how the nature is. Nature programs these eggs to finish. So nature is the one that eats them up. For instance, every month that a woman menstruates, a woman in reproductive age, she loses 1,000 eggs.
1,000.
Yes, that's the latest science. When I was in the medical school doing a course called embryology, we were told that it's 15 eggs that she loses per month. But the latest reproductive science finding is that it's 1,000 eggs she loses per month during her cycle. And then the egg she loses this month, for instance, is going to be better in quality than the one she's losing next month, and next month better in quality than the one she loses next month. So that's to say the quality is decreasing as she's advancing in age. And so the potential of getting pregnant with those eggs is also declining.
Wow.
Yes. And those are the things they need to know. So it's nature that programmed the body for this loss. So I always challenge nature, for instance. I say nature is wasteful.
Wow.
Because what rationale do you have? A woman born with close to 700,000 eggs, and then she comes to you in the office and you say, hey, lady, from the investigations we've done, it's very likely that you have no good eggs.
And
all
she
the
just
good
needs
eggs,
one.
yes, all the good eggs have been taken out by time. You know, from the time she started menstruating at 13, 14, eggs are losing and losing and losing, and she gets to a point where she has no eggs. So one major challenge is that they come to you at the point where they need egg donation, and then it's difficult to accept egg donation. Then, of course, you know, the morality is this. If you understand what nature is, then you'll be able to weigh whether the moralities that the churches or the mosques or the tradition is given is true or false. The body and science is the real morality. You understand? I've seen a lady, for instance, who was desiring to be pregnant. She wasn't permitted by the church system. All right, let me localize it to her church now, because I don't know what other Catholic church practice. Well, incidentally, I had a good socialization in Italy, so I can tell to an extent. You know, she didn't come to do, she was hoping that pregnancy will happen while she was waiting. Then when she decided to seek help from assisted reproduction technology experts, she visited me. And I told her that she has no eggs. And now she needs egg donation for an IVF. Do you know, right in my office, she regretted having known the church she went to.
Wow.
Do you understand? Yes. She practically insulted all the reverend fathers who encourage her the way they don't understand. Because she felt she has been cheated of the opportunity to use her eggs to even do an IVF. But now she's coming when it's even double tough. You don't have, you have to do IVF, and this time not even with your egg, but with a donor egg. There's no problem with donor egg. We can talk about the science of donor egg some other time.
Yes, I wanted you to clarify something with donor eggs. So it means, as a woman, if I come to you and I don't have good eggs and I need some egg from another woman, does it mean I need the entirety of that egg, or I need some part of that egg?
Just a few.
No. What I mean is, so if her egg is going to be implanted in me, is it a mixture of some of my egg, like some parts of my eggs with her egg, or is it entirely her egg in me? You know?
Oh my God! I understand.
Yeah.
At this point, you have no eggs.
Okay.
So there's nothing to mix.
Okay, so there's nothing to mix.
Oh, yeah. So it's just eggs treated with your partner's sperm are now deposited in your uterus. That is the
Hence,
basic concept of egg donation.
you know, hence the fear, because it now looks like I'm carrying someone else's child.
Exactly.
So more like a surrogate kind of situation, right? It's like I'm carrying this woman's child in me. So the question is, the genes, the traits, the behaviors of this baby, can you explain? Just by carrying it in my womb, does the baby come out with my genes, with my traits?
All right. Okay, let's look at it this way. That's actually one of the questions they throw at us all the time. It means I'm carrying someone else's child. And I've answered this question over 1,000 times.
Over 1,000 times.
I said so because every month I do IVF for at least 50 to 60 couples.
Wow, that's
every
a lot.
month.
Yeah.
And I've been doing IVF for the past 17 years.
Wow.
Assisted reproduction technology from right when I was a child till now that I'm a grown man. I have been in this field.
Yeah.
So I've answered this question 1,000,000 times. You know, they ask this question a lot. You know, it means they're carrying someone else's child. But this is what happens when you get pregnant with a donor egg, for instance. You're not carrying another person's child. Let's look at it from the legal perspective. You have signed a document to accept, a legal document to accept a donor egg. You don't know the donor, so there's no face attached to the donor.
Okay, so
it's an anonymous donor. Most times it's anonymous donor.
But there are times when you know, or probably from an arranged situation or something.
Oh, well, most times they don't know.
Okay.
We may know, we the practitioners may know,
yes,
but they may not know. Yes, because there's some cultural or social aspect to letting all parties know. Because you may see her on the way and she may also see you somewhere, and she feels if it's not for her sake, you may not be where you are today. So it's usually anonymous in most societies. Okay. Though we have situations where sisters bring their sisters to donate eggs for them. In that case, there's no blinding. They all know. So when a woman carries a donor egg, get pregnant, this is what happens. While she is incubating the baby in her own uterus, there is a transfer of genetic material from her, that's the woman carrying the eggs now, to the baby she's carrying, that seems to knock off most of the genetic characters coming from the donor side. And to a large extent, it becomes her gene character, her genetics, and the gene of her husband. So most times the baby looks like them, her or the husband. You know, how did I get about knowing this? It was a client, a patient, that led me into this science. She had done so much research just to accept egg donation. Then she brought all the papers of the research to me. You know, sometimes you can learn from anywhere.
Oh, yes.
If you are a good learner.
Oh, yes.
I pick up the research and went studying, and I realized that, yes, really, this is what happens. So it's not like you're just carrying someone's baby and you're a surrogate. No. So this is the reality of what happens when you carry a donor gamete. And you're the one that bears the pregnancy, okay? So there's a transfer of gene material from you to the baby that replaces most of the gene contents coming from the donor.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's you and your partner that have the baby.
Wow.
In the first place, there is a legal transfer of that gamete, which is constitutional in most societies where assisted reproduction technology is practiced. So it no longer, it's just like you going to the bank, for instance. Oh yeah, sorry, this is the bank. You go to the bank, you loan some money.
Oh.
The money is from the bank, but the money is no longer the bank's money.
Yeah.
Because you fill the documents and all of that. So there's a transfer, both genetic transfer and legal transfer of all of that to you. So this is my social argument. When women say, it means I'm carrying another person's baby, I say, okay, yeah, let's assume you're even carrying another person's baby. But it's your husband's sperm or your partner's sperm. And you're the one who gets pregnant. You're the one who breastfeeds the baby, who delivers the baby. and you're the one who breastfeeds the baby. Who do the world think has this baby? If all this history is clear to them,
The one who carried.
that's it.
Okay.
So it's a lot better than just adopting, because in adoption, for instance, there's neither your part or your partner's part in this baby. So if you could have an adopted child, why not having an adopted egg, for instance, or an adopted sperm? If the reverse is the case, when men have no sperms, they also use donor sperms. So that's one. So there's a transfer and all of that. Then I ask people, when you get to the point of having kids, what is really your concern? Is it that you want to have genetic connection with the baby or with the child? Or you want to have the privilege of parenting? These are two different things.
Yeah.
Being able to show a child love, care, and parenting, or solely genetic connections. So we have to balance all of this. So there are a lot of mishap about this donor egg thing. So why was he talking about the woman and her eggs, for instance? In the United Kingdom, England, there is a research going on right now. It's a program going on right now. When a girl is born, they do a gene profiling of the girl, of the female child, to see how long she's going to be producing eggs in her lifetime.
Wow.
Some can be releasing and producing these eggs until they are 30 and it stops. For some 40, it stops. Some 42, stops. Some 46, it stops. But of course, when you're getting to 40, the quality is bad. You're just waiting for the time for it to finish completely. And it's when it finishes that woman gets to that point where we'll call menopause anyway. So when a gene profiling is done and you understand that this lady is going to run out of eggs by the time she's 30, you sit her for genetic counseling. Hey, young lady, you're going to be out of eggs by 30. What do you want to do? It means if you intend to have kids, you have to do what it takes to have kids before you are out of eggs by 30. In which case, you may want to freeze your eggs while you still have them and use them later when you are 50 or 40.
So you mean I can freeze my egg as a woman?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, do you take it and put it in a freezer, or how do you do it?
Yes, it's not a freezer that uses the light refrigerator where you bank your food and all of those groceries and all that. No, it's cryopreservation tanks.
Okay, so it's preserved outside the woman's
body. Yes,
body.
you get the eggs. You treat them as if you're going to do an IVF, but you retrieve the eggs and don't fertilize the egg. You just clean the eggs up and freeze them. So if you take an egg, for instance, this is a big shift from our discussion, by the way. If you take an egg and freeze them while a woman is 20, for instance, you are frozen very quality eggs.
Wow.
The woman may just get married at 40 when she's out of eggs, but she has eggs banked while she was 20. So she has quality eggs to have quality kids without having to utilize egg donation service. For me, because nature is wasteful, that is one way to checkmate nature. You freeze those eggs. And now, women don't get married so quickly. Most women get married when they are advanced in age, 35, 37. Some even get married at menopause. I see all of them. So if they have frozen their eggs...
And they come to you for a child.
Exactly.
Wow.
So if they've frozen their eggs earlier in life, they could resort to using those eggs to getting pregnant. In fact, in my facilities now, I have a lot of women, not a lot, quite a number of women who have frozen their eggs and are using them to get pregnant. If a man is not coming by, you freeze the eggs. If you're not ready to have child as a single parent, freeze the eggs. So you could freeze. So when a girl is seen with those genetic marking in the United Kingdom, for instance, so you use it to advise them, freeze it, because nature is too wasteful. Yeah, too wasteful. A woman needs just 4 to 5 children or 6, 7 children in her lifetime. Then she has thousands of eggs.
Yeah.
And every month she's losing 1,000. And then when she's ready to use them, you say there's no eggs, or there are no eggs. So what do? You seek egg donation services.
And I'm curious, again, another dumb question. There's no way to reduce the casualty of eggs in a woman, right? Like from her monthly menstruation.
Now, this is a very interesting question. At the moment, no.
Okay.
At the moment, no. But it's something that would be good to try. Because just throw the question to those of us in the scientific world and we'll start working something out of it.
Okay.
Yes, it could be tried.
Yeah.
It could be tried. So far, what's available in the science of reproduction, it's you can get the entire ovaries and freeze the ovaries.
Okay.
And put it back when a woman is 45, 46, and then she can ovulate and get
The
babies.
entire ovary.
The entire ovaries.
Okay.
Or a chunk of the ovaries.
All right.
Or you take the eggs literally out of the ovaries
Yeah.
and freeze them. Those are the science, what's available.
But once the
science
ovaries
with-
are out, she cannot menstruate. So
you can
she's
take
gonna
it.
have.
Human has 2 ovaries, so you don't have to take all the ovaries, just part of one
Okay, just
ovary.
part of it. Yeah. Okay.
Then when she's ready, you could take it back. And then it makes her young again, menstruate again. Then her menopause can be postponed. And all the challenges of menopause. Then she has opportunity of getting pregnant, either unaided or aided, but with her own eggs.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So I hear you loud and clear, especially when you spoke about whose child it is, the one who carries, right? I would like to know your perspective about surrogacy. Is it allowed in Nigeria?
Well, it's done in Nigeria.
It's done in Nigeria.
Yes,
So
it's done in Nigeria.
Whether it's by law or not, it's done.
It's done in Nigeria. In my facility, we do it a lot.
Okay.
Maybe just this month, we've probably have done up to 5.
Wow.
Yes, for 5 couples. Some resident in Nigeria, some resident in some continents in the world, United States, England, and all of that, because you have a lot of blacks like us scattered around those places, and these services are not readily available. And even when they are available, the costs
is high.
It's just extremely high. The bill for assisted reproduction technology is with the Nigerian House of Assembly for quite a while now. They haven't passed the reading to make it constitutional.
Meaning it has not even gone through a second reading, maybe.
Yes. Yes, it hasn't gone through all the number of. I don't know the number of readings they do, but I usually hear second reading, which sounds like the significant reading.
It's just significant.
Okay, so it's gone through some of the readings, but it's not been established that in the field of assisted reproduction technology, this is permissible and this is not permissible. We don't have that categorical statement in Nigeria. But Lagos State, for instance, has a statement on that. Their local laws.
Okay, what does it say?
Yes, it's permissible.
It's permissible.
Yes, it's permissible.
Okay.
Yes. And then even the age to which assisted reproduction can be done is permissible. It's also stated in the constitution. So these are all the things. So in Nigeria, no constitution. So if you have to, law has different level.
Yes.
There is a contract. It's a contract between 2 people, and this is what they have decided to do, and it can go through the law. And they decide to sort it out the way they want to sort it, And then there is a kind of law cases that are settled outside of courts. And I know some lawyers who have specialized in out-of-court settlements.
Yeah.
So it will find its way into the court, but not because it is constitutional in Nigeria.
Wow.
Yes, constitutional in Nigeria. So those are some of the loopholes. So those of us who practice this usually have our training in the Western world. I, for one, train in England, trained in Italy. In Italy, for instance, surrogacy is not permitted.
But they do training for that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They train for IVF and all of that. But surrogacy is criminal in Italy.
Wow.
I train in Bulgaria, train in Spain, train in India, and some of this part of the world. So, but bottom line, we have some major umbrella organizations that we belong. I belong in the European Society of Human Reproduction and Embryology, and American Society of Reproductive Medicine. So we bound ourselves to the acceptability of their practice, because that's our society. We can always be questioned if we do. Well, members of those societies. Why Nigeria is taking its time to pass it? Probably because there is no money associated with the passing of that law yet. Doesn't see the light of day. So we practice it.
Okay.
We'll just find a way to practice it. And so far, so good. It's been going on in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that case, in the case of the question I asked, surrogacy, who owns the baby in terms of the moral description? You know, I know legally, if I brought you in, I was the one that made the arrangement, paid for everything. So it's my baby. But then genetically, now we're back to the question of genes.
Oh,
right? Yeah. So what's your take on that?
So now the law supersedes everything.
Okay.
The law supersedes everything. That is why the law can take a child away from his parents.
Yeah.
And give the custodianship
to another person. Yes.
Who has shown responsibility, or who the law believes will show responsibilities. You understand?
Yeah.
So it is an agreement. For instance, in my organization, there is a legal meeting going on right now in my organization. I don't know if it's done, because we see that we're doing surrogacy for a lot of international clients. Then it's not constitutional in Nigeria, in Nigerian assembly. You understand? So the lawyers are sitting with the practitioners to coin out a legal form, a consent form that courts and gives to you what belongs to you. Now it is a commercial surrogacy. The surrogate mother signs to be a commercial surrogate.
Yeah.
And then part of what is written in the consent is that this baby she's carrying doesn't belong to her in any way. She will not lay claim to the child. She reads, understands, what concerns her is her monies are paid at the end of the time. Monies are paid at the end of the time. That's the only part of the contract that she has. But of course, her health is going to be cared for and all of that.
Yeah.
So she has no right legally to lay claim to the child. She's just the carrier in this case. And the baby should be given to those who are responsible.
Wow.
Yeah, that is how it is. So you sign this contract, you can't change it later. I understand that in the United Kingdom, for instance, in England, the carrier would have to is the mother.
Yeah.
And then if she's giving up the baby, she signed another agreement to hand over the custodianship of the child to the parents. The first time I heard it, I was losing my mind. How would you ask a surrogate mother to be given custodianship to the real parents? But that's what the law is in England states.
What are the general benefits of ART?
Interesting. The general benefit of ART is just the fulfillment that it gives. I want to put it at that point, fulfillment that it gives. And this is very broad. One, you see, 40% of the population is having infertility.
40%?
Yes.
What population? Is it global?
The world population.
Okay.
It may even be more. It's going to be much more in the next generation, because we're doing a lot of practices, a lot of social lifestyle that's affecting the gametes, the sperm and the egg. So it's going to get worse, And a good number of these conditions cannot be corrected without assisted reproduction technology. So without it, a lot of couples will not be able to achieve the desires of parenting, of having babies and having connections with their kids. So that is one major benefit of assisted reproduction technology. It brings fulfillment, it brings fulfillment. In Nigeria, for instance, 40% of cause of infertility is because of tubal blocking of the fallopian tubes.
Okay.
And when the fallopian tube is blocked, it means a woman cannot get pregnant. She cannot get pregnant.
And what blocks it?
Disease conditions.
Okay.
Yeah, all these pelvic infections or some gynecological conditions like endometriosis or even surgical complications of surgeries can block. So 40% of cases of infertility is because of blocked fallopian tubes. So you can imagine 40% of people having infertility not getting pregnant.
Wow.
So IVF circumvents the fallopian tubes and put the pregnancy in the uterine cavity. So it gives hope, fulfillment, and happiness to a lot of people. I have a very graphic image of what fulfillment looks to people.
All right.
Yes. For instance, a woman got pregnant, and they have a pregnancy test. She came, pregnancy was positive. Then she knelt down in my consulting room, raised her hands up, eyes closed, tears rolling down her cheeks, and she was praying to the God, she said, thanking him. It wouldn't have been possible, humanly speaking, if not because of the intervention of assisted reproduction technology. And now this is not one. This happens on regular basis. Regular basis. So this is one of the benefits. Other benefits are genetic diseases, for instance, can be controlled using assisted reproduction technology. Like Africa, for instance, or Nigeria is the headquarters of sickle cell disease in the world.
Oh, wow.
Then you have over 50 million people living with sickle cell disease across the world. The heavy population is in Nigeria, India, DR Congo. If you have seen a kid with sickle cell disease, you will know what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
It's a life that leaves nothing to be desired. Apologies to all the kids. We're supporting them and hoping that we correct this mess and reduce the number of people living with this disease by reducing transfer of this genetic abnormality. So with assisted reproduction technology, these couples can get pregnant, AS and AS, and then they have healthy babies. Because you know which babies have sickle cell and you avoid by doing genetic analysis. Then a lot of genetic diseases also that doesn't have cure,
Oh, yeah.
could be taken care of by this advanced assisted reproduction technology. These are some of the beauty. And more importantly, if you look at it politically, there are a lot of societies that marriages are not in vogue. Marriages are not in vogue. And these societies are depending on other countries where childbirth happens like water. You wonder why why the Italians are accepting all Africans going there. You think it's just because they love the Africans? No. Because these guys, as untrained and crude and unschooled as they are, they have importance to deliver or some good to deliver in that society.
Yeah.
They may work in the supermarkets, work in the gas station, work in the field, clearing of snow, and make money. And that way they are delivering services. They school and deliver benefits to the society. It helps countries regroup their population. Yes. And that is why assisted reproduction technology services is free in some countries, because it grows population. Without population, your country would not exist. Even your political and economic power will plunge without
yeah.
population. So assisted reproduction technology has lots of benefits, lots and lots of benefits.
So with what you're saying,
Even political benefits.
yeah,
For
of course.
kingdoms that want to have male kids so that
I was going there,
rulership
right?
can continue.
Yes, I was gonna go there. So what you're saying is, we could decide the sex of this baby.
Could decide anything.
So we could decide if we want to have twins, triplets, you name it.
Yes, not as you put it. Decide to have twins, triplets, and quadruplets, and all the
Okay.
plets that goes with them.
Yeah.
These are fallouts of, in some part of the world, we call this errors of assisted reproduction technology, because multiple pregnancies are not very, very healthy.
Yeah.
But then there are societies where they celebrate them because of ignorance. But yes, it is a fallout of assisted reproduction technology. You could have twin, you could have singleton. It's acceptable to have twins. It's okay to have singleton, but it's almost criminal to have triplets.
Criminal?
Oh, yes.
How do you mean?
It's not healthy. You're putting the life of somebody at risk having triplets. A lot of women have triplets and don't make it. And the triplets may also not make it. They are not alive with their kids to tell their stories. It's only the few who survive it that comes to the Lord, that comes to the church or to the public space or social media space and shout, praise the Lord.
Wow.
For one person who probably is shouting, praise the Lord, there could be 3 or 4 more people who didn't survive it. It's either that they lost all the 3 babies or they lose their life alongside. And I can count incidences for you.
Wow. I believe it coming from you because you're every day in the theater.
That's my field. So I know. So the public may be happy having triplets or quadruplets, but we are not happy.
Wow.
We're not happy.
Okay.
But yet, some may call it benefits. We don't call it benefits. It's just what it is. It's a side effect.
Yeah. So another thing you said, which has got me thinking.
Oh, yeah.
So let's say a family, my family has a history of diabetes.
Okay.
And we have not gotten rid of that. We've tried, we've prayed, we've taken medications, and more people are coming down with diabetes. Are you saying that for the future of that family with assisted reproductive technology, you could edit out bad genes and diseases that are lingering?
I like the fact that you use the word with the future of assisted reproduction technology. Yes, you could do that using gene editing tool in assisted reproduction technology. You can edit any gene. And for diabetic gene, it's going to be a very welcoming one, because as I speak to you, my mom is diabetic.
Wow.
I know what it means to be diabetic. I'm watching my lifestyle too, so I don't, because she's my mom. I have part of the genes from her, so it may just be my turn to be diabetic if I don't watch quickly, to just delay the bad day from hitting. So some of these diseases would be agreed upon by the World Ethics Body to be edited immediately. Hypertension genes for diabetes, genes for glaucoma, gene for all kinds of bad diseases can be edited and taken out of human existence. Yes, we're getting there. I'm telling you this because that is my newfound field.
Wow.
The gene editing world with assisted reproduction technology. It wasn't too long in China, some babies were made with ability not to be infected by HIV by gene editing.
So that means their parents had HIV?
Oh yeah, they both had HIV. But these babies cannot have HIV, even if they inject HIV into their bloodstream.
Oh, wait. So I thought it was to prevent them from coming out with HIV.
No. It's prevent them from being infected by HIV.
No matter
No
what.
matter what.
Wow.
Yes. So the human body is like a playing ground. You understand? God, in quotes, made it plain. And I guess he left the other details to be walked by humans.
Yeah.
And that's my little understanding of the the biblical description of creation,
Okay.
where he said dominate. It means walk it. You know, when you get to these aspects, people always say science are play God. But I say it's also because they do not understand who they think God is. From my little knowledge of the Bible too, it says God makes everything perfect. But what we see in humans is way, way, way below perfection. How did humans get there?
Wow.
It is accident of nature. All of these genes that became abnormal were accident of nature, because every day or every time, accident happened biologically. Some of the accidents are able to be corrected by the human body.
Yeah.
Then some continue uncorrected and they manifest as certain disease. That is how sickle cell happens. That is how the aging genes comes, and all kinds of things. So they're not made by God.
Wow.
And it is left for humans to get these things checked and corrected. So when they say God caused this, I'll look at them and say, oh, obviously you don't even know. Why are you accusing God? God caused nothing.
In theology, we ascribe that to the fall of man.
Exactly.
When man
And
fell.
now you see somebody is short and you say God made him short. No, God doesn't make anybody short. And somebody is ugly, you say God made the person ugly. And I say God doesn't make anybody ugly. How do I mean? I look like my mom, for instance. Why don't I look like someone else's mom? If it was God that is responsible,
Oh, yeah.
God will have made it random so that you are just born and you look like somebody in the United States of America.
Yeah.
You look like your parents or your grandparent or your ancestors. That's to tell you that it is not in God's hand what we manifest. It is our parents that make us what we look like. And that's why there's a joke. They say some parents gave birth to a child. If this child is tall, I'm not the owner of this child, because they are both short. Even in the Bible, it's written, like begats like.
Yeah.
So it's not God who made it that way. So when people have sickle cell, for instance, it's not God.
Wow.
When they are ugly, it's not God. When they are sick, it's not God. It is the fallout of what we inherit from our parents, or from our ancestors. You understand? I can't look like your child.
Yeah.
Your child will look like you, or your wife, or look like you both.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. So God is out of this business, quote unquote.
So are you also able to edit looks, right?
We're going there.
Okay.
Now, in the future, for instance, immunization schedule is going to change.
Oh, wow.
It's going to change because, you see, the world is always at war with itself. Countries looking for dominance. This country wants to dominate the world. This country wants to be a regional power. This wants to be... And there are things that makes for dominance in the world. One is intelligence.
Yeah.
Another is power, physical power, energy, endurance. Another is workaholic. China is dominating the world today because it is workaholic. Then it has a number.
Yeah.
Then it has intelligence.
And
Beauty.
discipline.
Yeah. Beauty is a political tool and is an economic tool. All beauty pageants are beautiful to a large extent. And they're all tall.
Yes.
I've not seen a short one yet.
Yes.
Especially that I seeing very obese ladies coming out and say, oh, we're also yeah, they are beautiful.
Yeah.
You get. But the world has a standard it calls beauty.
Yeah.
And a pageant brings national or international development to the region she's from.
And recognition.
So all of these are going to be economic or political tools.
Yeah.
And in the search for world dominance, it is going to be ethically permitted.
Yeah.
Or let's use the word maybe criminally permitted for genes to be edited for national or international or world dominance. Because the society that is more intelligent is going to be better off than a society that is full of dull people.
Yeah.
A society that has a work ethics and doesn't run away from work and tired out of work so easily is going to be more productive than a society that has no work ethics, that has no tired. Then you see sports. Right now, sports is one of a tool of international recognition. There is a gene for endurance.
Wow.
If, as an individual, you have a gene for endurance, you're going to do better in running the marathon, in running the 200 meters dash, the 100 meters dash, and all what you have to say, even in football, sports, and all of that. So when these genes are edited, you are naturally endowed for excellence. So we're getting to a point where immunization, for instance, would be immunization instead of having the tetanus vaccine, the measles vaccine, the rubella vaccine, and all of these vaccine that kids, I'm sure I got some. I remember when I got BCG and all of that when I was in primary school and all of that. You can imagine I was given the gene for intelligence. And that can be done until a child is 13 with the current scientific findings.
So even after the child is born?
Oh, yeah. You could
genes
edit some of these genes. Exactly.
Wow.
So that's where we're going. Because everything about us is represented in our gene. And you can change it. You can edit it and become super with it.
It's like filmmaking, right?
It is.
Yeah.
You create a raw film.
Oh, yeah.
And then you
take
color
it to-
this.
Yeah, you color
You
it.
highlight this.
Yeah.
Then you make this slow motion. Then you fast forward. That is how the human life is.
Wow.
It's like a film. Imagine, as a child, I was a sickling child. I wasn't SS, for instance, but I was very sick as a child. I remember my childhood growing up. Wow. And that was why my mom and I are so close, because the only history I remember so much of me and my mom were hospital visits. Always sick, man. So she was tired of me at some point in time, but she couldn't give up. I was always having malaria. You could make a gene that makes me not to have malaria anymore, whatever it is. And I get immunized with it.
That would be beautiful. I mean, the millions of people that die from malaria.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you have gene for endurance. You have people walk without tiring.
Wow.
National development. And I'm not just kidding. Please, these things I'm saying are actually the future for reproductive medicine.
How soon can we start having this?
As I speak with you right now, it is already coming so close to us.
Okay.
Yeah, because every character is in the gene.
And these are things you've trained for?
Yes.
Or you're getting trained for?
I'm getting training.
Okay.
I'm doing reading in it. I'm following people who are experts in it.
Okay.
And I cannot just but love it. It's happening in plants and animals.
Yes.
You see a cow, for instance, producing tons of milk.
Yes. Liters, like.
You see one cow feeding millions of people, for instance. And then you see some small cows in other areas not feeding up to 1 million of people. What happened to that cow?
Wow.
A lot of them were genetically modified.
Yeah.
Genetically edited. And that is where we're going. Sickle cell, for instance.
Yeah.
This same technology has cured sickle cell. Yes. Sickle cell has no cure. But it has been, this same technology I'm talking about has cured individuals with sickle cell in the United States, in United Kingdom. I'm following up on those cases as we speak.
Yeah.
So the world is soon going to be beautiful.
It'll be cool to have a trial here.
Exactly.
You know?
The world is soon going to be a very beautiful place with respect to control of things.
Yeah.
You know. And then the society that has more of those will have more healthy people, more intelligent people, hardworking people, gene for endurance, gene for beauty. Everybody wants to be beautiful. Then even gene for muscle building. I'm very skinny, for instance, but there is a gene called myostatin gene. If it is activated, you easily build muscles. That's why some of us still go to gym and we never build any muscles so much. Because we are so skinny. There is myostatin genes. So all of these are in humans. So you can change it. We can start by correcting the bad diseases that kill us most.
Yeah.
The thalassemias, the sickle cell disease, the BRCA genes that cause breast cancer, the cystic fibrosis. You could change all these genes.
Yeah.
The Duchenne muscular dystrophy. You could change all these genes by editing them and replace them with what you want. And humans are better off with it. So this is happening. And how would you even imagine? How about the gene for aging?
Oh, wow.
Anti-aging.
Yeah, I know you were very key on that. The last time I was in your office, you spoke about aging.
Yeah.
And you were very
There's nothing
excited.
beautiful about it. Aging is a disease. It's bad. You know, what do I mean it's bad? Have you admired any old person before? And be very sincere. What does it mean to be old? Your eyes aren't seeing anymore.
Yeah.
Are not seeing properly.
Your hearing.
You don't
as
even
well.
have good teeth to eat. Then you have pain everywhere in the body. Knee pains, arthritis, neck pain, body pain everywhere. You can't stand up straight. You can't walk. You can't run. You can't even eat. Then you have hypertension. You have diabetes. And you say aging is glorious. Just nothing good about aging. Aging is a disease. In fact, it will soon be classified as a disease. Yes. And at that point, people will have option to be very young again, or to live young for a very long time.
Wow.
And then death by natural means will be taken out. Then you have more death from accidental or incidental means. You understand? So this is where science is headed. And I think it's just a matter of time. You'll get there. And you know, since I have a lot of socialization from the Bible, what comes to mind for me is somewhere in the Bible, in the book of Corinthians, where the Bible says, "Death, where is your sting? Death, where is your sting? Oh, grave, where is your victory?" Hey, you have been swallowed in victory. You're thinking that's going just to happen in the church? Science is our own church. It's bringing it there gradually. You know, then death will be optional. Yes. Not as optional as I make it sound, as sweet as I make it sound, but then a lot of death by this natural means will be controlled. But of course, you know, as a matter of necessity, it's not everyone that can afford to have this intervention.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it may not be rampant, but those who have the means could have it. And government that decide to make it a subject or a thing of national or international necessity will control the world with it.
So, while we were speaking, I was wondering, backstage, you were talking about a priest in Bulgaria who said children born from IVF have no soul.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that obviously affected that industry in that country and elsewhere too. But I'm looking at, there's this thing people say that children born through assisted reproductive technology are not born in love. What's your take on that? What is love in your eyes? And must there be an intercourse before a child is born to be accepted as a full human being? Are there some things scientifically that could suggest that someone who was delivered in this process is less of a human being?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, with reference to what you said about the priest in Bulgaria, I heard that. You know, I heard that when I went there for my trainings. You know, and it sounds dumb to me. You know, because the humans, you know, and for any reasons, they have better souls than those of us who were conceived spontaneously.
Okay. Why do you say that?
I don't know why I said that, but that's the way I feel. You know, because the difference between assisted reproduction technology and unassisted conception, you know, or spontaneous conception, it's where fertilization happens. That's just the difference.
Okay.
Fertilization happens inside the uterus for those who conceive spontaneously by having intercourse.
Yes.
Then it happens in the lab for those who are conceived by means of assisted reproduction technology. That's just the difference. But developing the pregnancies in the womb They have heartbeats. They have every part of the body and all and all and all that. And they are born alike. So they have souls. They have spirits. Am I sure? Well, I don't know about spirits. But they have soul. They have body.
I mean, they're cognitive beings.
Oh yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I was with the first IVF baby in the world.
Wow.
Yes.
Where was that?
Oh yeah. That was in London,
Okay.
2018. Yes. When she was, I think, 40 years birthday, 2018. So I was at the event marking her birthday, for instance. I had a picture with her.
That is golden.
We had drinks together. We talked together and asked her what life really like, you know. You could see I have a picture with her, you know, and all of that. She's normal, super normal. She has 3 boys that she conceived spontaneously without the aid of anyone.
Wow.
You understand? So that's how normal these kids are. They are super normal. Even the first IVF baby in Nigeria, I had privilege of working in the institution that conceived her. Yes.
Was that in Lagos?
No, in Abuja.
Abuja, okay.
Yes, Abuja. She wanted to be the president of Nigeria. That's her childhood ambition, you know. And then she was in an higher institution in the United Arab Emirates, you know. So normal, everything just normal.
Wow.
You know. So they have souls. That's just a misconception, a misgiving because of lack of understanding. Now, other people feel that babies that are not conceived by intercourse of parents or partners are not conceived in love. That's because people misunderstand love to be intercourse.
Yeah.
Love is way, way beyond intercourse. In fact, if you ask me, kids conceived by assisted reproduction technology are more conceived of love because it wasn't easy to conceive them. The parents make deliberate acts, traveled to the hospital, paid their monies, huge sum of money. Because, you know, according to human nature, what you don't spend money on is not valued. So they spend huge sum of money in what they value. So I think kids born from assisted reproduction technology are born in higher love than those that have
Because
intercourse.
it's not carelessly
some
done.
of this love are among couples who are always fighting,
Yeah.
who don't really like themselves. And some of this love are mistake love.
Yeah.
Rape, incest.
It's interesting you
And
say
all of that.
it's interesting you say this because I think a number of cases of teenage pregnancy is from this deceit that if you love me,
That's true.
you would allow me to have intercourse with you, right? And it's sort of skewed into believing that intercourse is how you can prove your love to someone. Yeah, but it's much beyond.
That's
beyond
true.
that.
You see?
Yeah.
So you can see. So if you allow us to keep talking,
Yeah.
I'll say that those conceived by IVF are conceived of greater love than those who just have intercourse with their partners.
Wow.
And then because they are IVF, even the doctors treat those pregnancies with extreme care,
Wow.
attention, and dedication than those that are spontaneously conceived. It is a sentiment, yes, but that is what happens. And then you couldn't have spent millions of naira or thousands of dollars, 10,000 in the United States, 6,000 to 15,000 pounds in the United Kingdom, $5,000 in Uganda. That's the cost of IVF in this region as we speak. You couldn't have spent so much money doing this if you are really not in love with having these babies.
Yeah. How much is it in Nigeria?
It ranges
Okay.
between 2,000 to 5,000-6,000 for the regular IVF. But the IVF with pre-implantation genetic diagnosis gets close to 18 million naira.
Which could be significantly higher in
The
US,
in the
so-
US, of course.
okay.
Because they are
yeah.
exponentially higher than what we're doing here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's come back to surrogacy. Right? Have you ever had an incident or incidences where a surrogate mom came to you and probably regretted doing that?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't.
Have you had testimonies then?
Where they regretted doing
No,
that?
have you had testimonies where they appreciated?
Yes. What I remember was that one of the surrogates mother that conceived in our facilities and gave birth to twins came to
Wow.
the hospital and bought gifts for the twins and sent it through the hospital to the parents, thanking them for the privilege to have brought their babies to have come to the world through her. That wasn't all. She also came to the hospital. She was paid, of course. Forget it. Surrogates everywhere are being appreciated. You may choose not to call it payment, but it is not free. Someone pays for their comfort and whatever you want to call it, stipends, or it's commercial surrogacy. Yeah, commercial surrogacy, especially in Africa. So she came to the hospital and I was consulting, and all of a sudden I was told someone wants to see me. I was like, okay, who could this be? And I realized that was one of the surrogates. I was already losing my mind for people allowing surrogate to come into my office, because sometimes I feel there are channels where they go through and there are people who see them. Why am I seeing this? Why am I seeing her now? Then she knelt down in the office. I was like, okay, what's going on here? And she said that she just want to thank me for allowing her to be a surrogate. That with the money she was paid, she's able to establish businesses for herself.
Wow.
And she's gainfully employed.
Wow.
She hadn't gone to the regular institutions. And of course, she's from the lower socioeconomic class in this region of the world. And of course, you know how unemployment is, how high the rate is in Nigeria. She was able to do that for herself. This is one. This is now just 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, a surrogate was also delivered in the facility where I worked.
Wow.
I was told by one of the nursing staff that she was so lovely as a surrogate, and she even bought gifts for the parents. I mean, for the babies. So this is the reality of what we see. So it's different from the reality that the social world has about surrogates.
Wow.
They are rendering very huge and beautiful service to the world. They're helping in sustaining the world population. And if you know what population is, for instance, population is the life of a country.
Yeah.
If you have a huge population, you have the potential of being among the economically strong powers in the world.
Yes.
Every populous country in the world is strong.
Yes.
Except Nigeria.
Well, Nigeria is still strong because I think we are known because of our population. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think I understand your point.
Yes. I'm not saying we're doing everything right.
Yeah.
But this nation, with all the bad things that are happening, there are many Nigerians who are achieving around the world, even here. And this is partly because of our population. It somehow pushes us. You know, we're kind of in a race for survival of the fittest. So it pushes us to think smarter. So that's why you see a Nigerian in the African Committee of States. It's usually you can easily spot a Nigerian because they're usually the go-getters. They're very confident, very bold. You know, because of how our society is, we are pushed to ask questions. To devise new means.
Yeah, I think you're quite right. When I think of my own being strong, I'm thinking of the likes of China,
okay,
the United States of America.
Oh yeah.
India, and France, for instance, Russia. Check out, these are populous countries in the world, England, but then look at how strong they are. I'm not talking of strong in terms of military capacity.
Okay, yeah.
Strong in social living, amenity, economy, and GDP.
Sure.
Those are the things I'm talking about. Yeah, Nigeria is strong. We are the giant of Africa. The giant. You know what it means to be a giant in Africa?
Yeah.
We're so strong. I'm strong, I know.
Yeah, I know. So, The let's talk about cost. The cost of doing this. I know it's a very expensive thing, out of reach for an average person
Yeah.
in Nigeria, with no systems in place to even take a loan to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. So my question is, as someone who has practiced this for 17 years now, and having your own facility, your own organization, you supervise this from start to finish. What are some of those things you think either the government or organizations or hospitals or individuals can do to make this more accessible?
This is quite interesting. Oh, you know, we're doing a case study of Nigeria as Nigerians now, right?
Yeah.
Most of the things used for assisted reproduction technology are not produced or manufactured or synthesized in Nigeria. There's no power in Nigeria. Most institutions in Nigeria generate power for themselves.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Because the regular national grid is not reliable.
And this is one of the things that source the cost high.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're going to have to generate power for yourself. Like, for instance, the organization where I work, they have generating plants for power. They have solar for power. Then the national grid of electricity. So 3 alternative sources of power. And all of these are maintained and managed by money, by costs. Then the drugs are very expensive and all of that. So none of those things are just...
Yeah, and they're not manufactured
They're not
here.
manufactured here. So then the cost of importing these things is not enough to import. The Nigerian federal government will charge you for import duties and all of those things. And these import duties can actually be quite...
And what percent are we looking at?
Well, I don't have a figure to that.
Okay.
You know,
So you buy from those who have imported, not that you
exactly
import
when they've
yourself.
already
Okay.
marked up everything on it. So you're buying at their own profit margins.
Okay.
You know,
Wow.
so these are the things that makes it so expensive. And then it's a field that the government doesn't subsidize.
Yeah.
Government doesn't subsidize it anywhere. In some societies, the government sponsors the IVF for a good number of people. It's not so in Nigeria. Population is too much for Nigeria, and the population has not yet occurred to us to be a very important index for national development.
Yeah.
Yes. And so these are all the things that make it so high. So for it to become cheap, the government, first of all, needs to understand what population means. And the government must be ready to harness the power of the population and rank amongst important countries in the world. Take a cue from China. Before 3 years ago, before 3 years ago, China has a policy one family, one child. And this means a lot. That makes a lot of females to be exiled in China secretly. And that makes abortion rate in China to be very high.
Yeah.
You know, then you have a lot of males in China because most families now want to have males.
Yeah.
For some crazy reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But China now realized that the contest in the world is about population. And they are who they are because of their number. They have cheap labor. The whole world goes there for production. They have good schools. You know, they have good scientific innovations, good laboratory for biological things. And they realize that we are who we are because we are populous. They lifted the bar. So now in China, you could have any number of kids you want to have because that is where the strength is. So our country hasn't appreciated this.
We're talking about birth control, rather, and I hope you're aware of that because it's one thing to have a growing population, but I agree with you that the government has not understood the importance of population. But it's also another thing to take care of that population, right? We in Nigeria, for instance, have been more in we're supposed to be a capitalist nation, but we have more socialist than capitalist, where families give birth to children and expect the government to look after those children.
Correct.
Without, in fact, in some cases, literally have zero investment towards those children and send them off. So you could have a family who don't know where their child is, right? And so the question is, we're even trying to grapple with harnessing the one we have.
So why adding more?
Why adding more, right? Yeah.
Anyway, that's true. I get that. I
Mm-hmm.
get that.
You know, the usual thing is the support for malaria, for cholera, for typhoid, for all kinds of
Basic
general
things,
basic
necessities.
things. Yes, but are there provisions where or platforms where people could donate to that, you know, to assisted reproductive technology?
Yes, there are a lot of foundations in Nigeria actually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they function, but a good number of them help people to do assisted reproduction technology, you know,
Wow.
and they take responsibility for the cost. I know that there's a big Christian association
Okay.
nationwide. The headquarters in Abuja, who invited me and members of my team to do IVF treatment for her members.
Wow.
Yes, they were paid for.
A Christian organization.
A Christian organization.
That's new.
Yes, and I remember then we have to move equipment from Jos to Abuja, and we treated quite a number of the church members. You know, beginning from investigations, hysteroscopies, laser procedures, you know, and all of that before the IVFs were done. All paid for by the organization. In fact, now that we talked about that, I remember there's also another church who has done that with some other people.
Wow.
Yes. Then once in a while you have sporadic individuals who just wants to sponsor some other person's treatment. Then I've seen some couples that we've treated and they succeeded, and out of joy of success,
wow,
they want to identify with those who are going through such treatment with difficulty to either support them or sponsor the entire treatment. So it happens here and there. There are some good, well-meaning Nigerians who were able to do this, and it's going on. This is from our perspective, and I'm sure that if you talk to others, you also hear the kindness of other Nigerians to those undergoing this kind of practice. Just that from the federal government perspective, I don't think anything like this is happening. Just as like the insurance organizations that fund health do not fund fertility care because it's assumed that it is a luxury.
Wow.
So they don't fund it. If they find out that that's what you're going for, you're just on your own. You don't fund it.
I'm beginning to really get a sense of where we're headed, right? In terms of technology, and especially in the medical field, and I'm excited for it. But one question I want to ask is, what are some of the disadvantages of doing this, in your opinion, having practiced for quite some time?
Disadvantages?
Yes, or probably side effects, if there is.
Of doing an IVF?
Yes.
I don't think there's a side effect. Yeah, I don't think side effect of IVF. Maybe if I understand your question from the academic perspective or clinical perspective, are you trying to ask whether there is a problem a woman can have if she does an IVF?
Yes, a problem. Generally, either a problem a woman can have, or probably from complications.
All right. Now, I understand you now. Yes, the common side effects or complications of IVF is having a woman responding excessively to the medication.
Excessively?
Yes.
Okay, what do you mean?
So she could produce plenty eggs, or shows a response that has tendency of generating plenty eggs. In that situation, you put her life to risk. But it only happens to about 0.5% of people worldwide. So it's a very insignificant complication. Yes, sometimes there are signs you could see that coming, and then you take necessary steps to avoid that from happening.
Okay.
And even if it happens, there are ways to go about it, you know. So this is one of the dreaded complications. The other complications for me, it's commoner in Africa, you know, is multiple pregnancies,
Huh.
triplets and above,
Okay.
and multiple pregnancy, and it puts the life of the unborn baby at risk and the life of the carrier at risk. You know, I was in a European country where I was working, you know, and then one of our patients had triplets. I was a foreigner, so I share no, I didn't share much responsibility, but a panel of investigation was set up to investigate all of us involved and find out how on earth we made a woman had triplets. It was going to go down to the point of gene analysis.
Wow.
In case we lied that we deposited 2 babies and they became 3. Because these are society where high premium is placed on the life of a woman.
Wow.
And you must not risk her for genetic or medical gymnastics.
Yeah.
So it is abomination.
Wow.
You understand? So multiple pregnancy is a complication. And it should be avoided. In Switzerland, for instance, it's only 1 that is accepted.
Okay.
In England, maximum 2. In some countries in Africa, there is no maximum. One of the complications is complication of failure. Some people have psychological trauma that they may never recover from. And you can't quantify that in terms of money.
Okay.
It's a trauma.
Okay.
They never regain their sting in life, their vibes in life.
Yeah.
You know, their confidence in life. They feel like they are failures.
Wow.
You know, so that's a very big and bad complication, if you ask me.
Yeah.
You know, so but yeah, there are complications.
Are there complications stepping from probably bad medical practice in terms of where a woman chooses to do an IVF, for instance? I'm talking in terms of general medical practice, whether some carelessness by physicians.
It's a difficult question for me to answer, but I don't want to say no.
Okay.
There may be. Yeah, but the highest complication is ovarian hyperstimulation, where a woman responds excessively to medication. But it happens to 0.2 to 0.5% of people. You know, it's very minimal.
Yeah.
And hardly happens. You know, so I'm trying to separate the two things, IVF and antenatal.
Yeah, it's two different.
It's in the antenatal now that the triplet gestation, multiple gestation becomes a problem. That is where women lose their life. That's where babies get miscarried. That is where babies are born with prematurity and the complications of prematurity when they are multiple.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that word, there's just so much happening there.
How long does IVF take? Averagely.
Now it depends on what you're doing. It could be between 2.5 weeks to 5 to 6 weeks. Then there are some kinds of IVF. You're doing IVF with pre-implantation genetic diagnosis. It could last 6 months.
Wow.
It all depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. So at what age can a woman not undergo assisted reproductive?
In Nigeria, 52.
Okay, so 52 is the cap.
In Nigeria.
Yes. Okay.
In Lagos, let me say Lagos. Because Lagos has constitution for it. So I'm just extrapolating Lagos. Okay. In England, it's about 50 or so.
Okay.
Well, I was in England. Anyway.
Why is there a cap to...
At that age, women are old. That's what I say. Aging is a disease.
Okay.
So they're sick. They're weak at that point in time. The heart may not be functioning normally. Hypertension may just be there. Diabetes may just be there. So you're now putting another load on that system that is already deteriorating.
Yeah.
So you want to take the woman somewhere.
Would you encourage normal couples? And by normal, I mean the man is normal, the woman is young. Would you encourage them to consider IVF for some reason?
When you say they're normal,
they
don't have reason for IVF.
Yes.
But they just want to do it.
Yeah, probably they want to select the sex of the baby.
Why not? I will encourage them to do it.
Okay.
They know what they're looking for. They may be royals, and royals who just don't have, you can't have kids anyhow. You must make sure that the throne is secured.
Yeah.
Like the Game of Thrones. Always wanting to have have you watched the Game of Thrones?
Sure.
You see that this lady there, she always wants to have a male child.
Yeah.
Whatever it costs, she needs a male child because the kingdom must be secured. So yes, there are different reasons why they want to do IVF, even when they are normal. Some are medical reasons, some are political reasons, some are social reasons. So depending on what's chasing them in life or what they are chasing, a woman has a right to be pregnant at any time, anywhere, using any technology available. So it's the rights, the reproductive laws of a woman.
Wow.
She may just be normal and say, no, I don't want to just get pregnant anyhow. I just want it by IVF. Fine, she has the money to pay for it. She goes that way. So yes, what is normal is defined by a whole lot of factors.
Thank you for watching The Yellow Mic. My name is Kongs Shamaki. I'd like to invite you to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. We are striving to make this worth your time. Also, like this video and share to your friends, and let me know what you think in the comment section.